day. Welcome to the first series of the Lost Blocks Collective. My name is Jasmine Love and I'm here today with
Mikkel, and we're also joined with the lovely
Marie-Chantele.
Hey, I'm so excited. I'm actually so excited to have you, not only because I know your story, but I know you're a phenomenal lady.
Thank you.
So to give y'all a brief background of Marie, she studied criminology, and your master's was also in youth justice and
Community safety and applied criminology.
and she's about to do a PhD, guys, you see? She's got beauty and brains. So obviously the main purpose of this podcast is to share the stories of those in the farm, because we have a bad rep, like, you know, social, the media and how they portray farm, but we want to get people's real stories and for the, you know, for the people in farm to actually have their voice. So we're going to start off just by asking you, girl, like, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm 26. I literally grew up in Broadwater Farm. I spent most of my years in Broadwater Farm. I currently don't live in Broadwater Farm anymore. Obviously, I have a child, so I've decided to move out the area. However, growing up was very eventful, and I like to call it, it was an experience that molded me to the person I am today. That's what I believe anyways. I feel like I learned a lot of life experiences. I went through a lot in the area, and literally I feel like it's molded me to become a person where I know what I want and don't want.
You said that there's certain things that's molded you into the person you are today. What are those things that you feel, and events, because I know there's plenty of events that happen here.
Yeah.
Good ones, definitely good ones, bad ones, but
Yeah.
they're all events. So what events in particular have molded you into the person you are today?
I feel like for example, obviously the quick brief background on the area. When everyone moved here, it was mainly ethnic minorities that got moved into the area, and I feel like because we moved to Hackney to here.
Okay.
And I feel like it was just such a bad move for the council to do that for us. Obviously, I understand why. It's not like we was buying a house.
Yeah.
This was our opportunity to have a house, if that makes sense. And when we came to this country, my parents were asylum seekers.
Where did you come from?
Ivory Coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is all things that I had to learn when I grew up.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I didn't understand what was really going on. And I feel like you see back home when our parents, they will be in the house and we'll be outside.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like they applied literally the same knowledge here. So like they came here and me and my siblings will be outside.
Yeah. Just normal thing. Go outside and play. You're in the area. Just don't go too far.
Exactly. So, and obviously too far for us was coming out of Broadwater Farm. But as you are well aware, that Broadwater Farm is, you know, a very massive area. So we'll be out, you know, probably about late times. And it was like, to us, it was kind of normal because our parents didn't really sit us down and be like, you shouldn't be out at this time. Whereas now, where I'm a mum, and
Never let yourself.
he wants to go downstairs to the park. Okay, you're gonna have to wait for me until I finish doing what I'm doing, and I'll come out with you. Like, I'm not comfortable with letting him, you know, go outside, even though it's just literally downstairs. I'm not comfortable, and I feel like that's just little things like that would have went a long way for us if it was done to us. But then again, I have to remember and acknowledge the fact that that's what they knew.
Yeah.
And it's only right for us to learn from them and do better.
And they didn't know the dangers that were out there. Like, you know now, because
Of
you have
course.
that street,
Of
like
course.
your wives and stuff.
Yeah.
I definitely say there's probably more dangers now, especially in general. Whereas before, like myself, go outside, play, just be back by 7, be back by 8. But now there seems to be just dangers just in general across the board. You don't even want to say go outside by yourself for even like an hour or so.
And it's not just like, you know, like gang crime. It's literally everything. Like kids are getting kidnapped.
Yes.
So much things are happening, and I'm just not comfortable even just, you know, saying, okay, you can go outside by yourself. I would want to be there or be able to see whatever he's doing, literally.
Yeah. With that, would you say it's easier on an estate? Because with an estate, I feel there is that strong family thing in the sense that if it's not you watching your child, you feel like there's someone else there. Like there's usually an adult presence, so there's usually enough kids around where if something went wrong. Like I always felt if something went wrong, there's always a group of us that's just ready to just help out or get another adult to help us out if we thought there was a odd activity, like I say, weird activity. Do you feel that's different now?
I agree. I do agree. Like, obviously, back then, that was definitely the case. Literally, everywhere you went, you knew who was there, or it wasn't my parents, but it was someone else's parents. You get what I mean? Literally. So it was, you will be comfortable to be out because you know you're okay and you know everyone that's around you. It is definitely a community.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, it could come across as a family, definitely 100%.
100.
Whereas now, I just wouldn't trust anyone. I wouldn't trust anyone anyways.
Yeah.
You just don't know everyone's true intentions. And like this area alone, even if I still lived here, I don't think I would be comfortable with him going to the park by himself or even walking to school by himself. Like I would definitely get anxiety. Do you get what I mean? I would definitely get anxiety. Whereas we just used to get up and go to school.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you from that question. You talked about it, like the farm helping you and teaching you a lot of things, because obviously we do know that there's a lot of like bad portrayal of the farm. What are the things that living in farm has taught you that has helped you now that you're, you know, a lovely, beautiful young adult, 26? What do you think you've learned from the estate? What do you think you've learned from this estate that you couldn't have learned like anywhere else and it's helped you?
I feel like I learned that I shouldn't judge 100%. Everyone's circumstances are different. Because literally there will be some of my friends that, you know, that had really good backgrounds, but they were still living here, and there will be others that are a bit struggling. So you should never judge no matter what. That's what I believe. I also learned to be more resilient and accepting towards people's behaviour.
Okay.
Because everyone behaves accordingly to what's around them. That's what I believe anyway.
Yeah, the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe like a lot of the people, like the young people within this area, they're just doing what they know, what they think is okay.
Yeah.
And stuff like when you see like a group of them downstairs, people from outside will look at them as they're just hanging about.
Yeah.
And literally, it's the community we grew up in. And it's just friends, literally just, you know,
100%.
outside and relaxing. And that's their way of relaxing and chilling with each other. Whereas someone from outside, because I remember literally in uni, we had a lecture called Gangs. We had a gangs lecture, and literally Broadwater Farm came up all the time. It came up all the time, and I'll be sitting there and I'll be listening to the lecture, and I'm just thinking, you live in deep Croydon in your nice posh house. Like,
Thank you.
How dare you have such like an opinion on an area where I grew up in? I was just thinking, you don't know nothing, literally, and it was always negative to the point where most of the time it was only in my work that I'll make it very clear that I had, you know, like very good knowledge on the area, and it's not that. Like I will always be for, even though I will have to put something against because it's only right. But whereas in the class, it was one of the things that kept me reserved. So I would just listen to people's opinions and what they had to say. But I wouldn't necessarily all the time tell them, no, you're wrong, or this and that, because everyone's entitled to their opinion at the end of the day. But like I said, it really taught me not to judge. And I became very much open-minded, like growing up, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
And I think it surprises people when they meet people from the farm and you tell them, oh, I come from the farm. They're like, what, hold on, you? Like, they look at you and it's like they stereotype us in a certain type of way. And so do you think that all that you've been through, it led you into that path of studying criminology and youth justice? And what impact do you want to make in that field? Because I know you're going on to do your PhD. Yeah.
So literally, I would say what really impacted me was the relationship with the police. Because initially, so when I was 14, I was a police cadet. Is it? Yeah. I was a police cadet for a few years. Because do you know what? It was more for discipline and just learning certain ropes and laws that I was really into it. I liked it. And as a cadet, we used to do a lot of activities, group-based activities. So all of that really just helped me to become much more confident in team working and etc. But then when I got to, for example, my first year of uni, because in college I did public services, so it was still police-based, you get what I mean? It was uniform public services. But when I got to my first year of uni and I did criminology, I just remember switching it up and thinking, nah, I don't really want to go in the police, you know. I want to be more on the rehabilitation side and prevention side and all of that. So really for me, my impact will be to be able to I'm all about preventing and definitely...
Prevention's better than cure, as they say.
Of course. And focusing a lot on rehabilitation and just creating more opportunities for the younger people to come. Yeah. And literally, because it's just, I've got so much opinions on the criminal justice system. I wish I could just get up one day and just change it. But literally, that's one of my, I feel like that's the way, the pave I'm going to take, to just try and make a statement.
When you said that you started at 14 in the police cadets, was that your own choice?
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't. It actually wasn't. It was recommended to me because I used to have quite a bit of a temper. Jasmine can tell you. So it was actually recommended to me by the school officer. Because we had, so that's another thing.
What school did you go to?
I went to Northumberland Park, at first.
Okay.
And then in year 9, I switched over to another school because it was like a better choice for me.
Okay. We'll keep it aside. A better choice.
It was a better choice for me. So literally, when I did that, the school officer, that's another thing as well. I remember telling, my friends in uni, so you can have stuff like school officers, and everyone was looking at me like, why do you have a school officer in your school? Like, well, literally, it's so normal in Haringey. Like, every school has an officer, and I think it's only right. But, so from that, where was I?
I was saying, was it your choice that you went to
That's it.
cadets?
So, obviously, I was a bit...
Temperamental.
Yes, that's my word for that. And so it got recommended to me, and I just remember going there once, and then I was thinking, I actually like this. Like, I did like the whole discipline and the stuff. I remember my first day there, we was actually just practicing training. And training as in marching.
Okay.
So it was like, it had fitness elements, and then we was doing like group activities where we would do stuff like rifle shooting. We go on. It was so. I found it fun. It was really fun. It was so fun. We did like Duke of Edinburgh's, like all them things.
Duke of Edinburgh's have been.
It was really good. Yeah, we went camping, literally learned survival, skills. So it was really great. So yeah.
Was this local? Sorry, was this local as well? Where was this?
So every borough actually has a police cadet.
And where was this one?
Haringey. I was part of Haringey Police Cadets.
Sorry, where in Haringey?
Oh, so I don't think I will disclose exactly where it's situated, but literally, if you search up...
I didn't know if it was like one of those... Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but literally, if you search up, every borough has a police cadet. Yeah.
Okay. But what you're saying is so interesting, because growing up in the estate, well, for me personally, you have a negative perspective of the police.
I was
so
going
for
to
you
that,
to go on to go be Mrs. Police Cadet, how did you get into that? And I remember when we were younger, I remember you actually saying stuff about being in the police force and stuff. Yeah. So how come you didn't say, I'm not going to be a part of these people, but you said, I'm going to try it and be a part of this police cadet thing? Yeah,
because it all goes back to not judging.
Yeah.
And literally, so we used to do activities with the police. Do you get what I mean? In the area. So it was just, I already had a good perspective of them. Even though I did have a good perspective, because I saw those officers, those specific officers having good relationships with, some of us in the area. Obviously, what happens outside of the area or what came into the area is a whole different...
It's another thing,
Do you get what I mean? And like I said, it's not always good to judge. And that's the same thing I want to do to my son. I would never tell him any negative story. He has to, make his own mind up. And, I have to tell him the police are there to actually help people. Because no matter what, okay, for example... just a quick example, like drug dealers, they get upset with the fact that they're going to prison for doing that.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if, for example, God forbid, touch wood, like a sister of yours was to get raped or something, you would want the police to get involved.
Of course.
So you can't pick and choose when you want the police. That's my opinion. So I just feel like I wouldn't judge. I didn't judge, and I actually enjoyed. Yeah, I did get comments. I have I had my friends and my brothers. You're a snitch, but it was nothing like that. I never had to, discllose any information like that. Do you get what I mean? It was literally my own free will. I wanted to do it. I enjoyed it, and if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would even got into the criminal justice.
Yeah, you thought it helped you be a bit more disciplined.
And I like what you're saying, because you're saying not judging on both sides. So it's not us judging the police and not the police judging us. So it's good to know that we shouldn't judge. Everybody's relationship with a person can change perspective.
Yeah, and literally you saying that, because obviously I was very well aware that I was very different to all the other cadets. Because I was, 100%. So... not to be too, controversial, but I was really different.
In what way?
So you had the posh cadets, and then you had the ones that, are very, very disciplined. They've come from a very disciplined background. Yeah. And even people that looked like me were not like me. You could tell, even the way I spoke, just the way I came across, you can tell I was really raised in a deprived area.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, literally, like, that's just where it is.
You have to
Like,
say how it is,
you knew
innit?
I was coming from, you know, somewhere very, like, you could tell I was trying to get out of it, but
Yeah.
you could, because when I get that, I found myself, like, being very, like, you know, like, minimizing what I'm saying.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
did you feel conflicted?
I did. Like,
Yeah.
at times, I have to be careful what I say, even down to, like, certain jokes or, like, just,
Yeah.
even,
Yeah.
like, slang, just the way we
Yeah.
speak. They really spoke properly, yeah? Whereas
Oh, right.
I really spoke, yeah, you know what I mean? Innit?
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful, though. And the reason I say it's powerful because people don't realize that sometimes, and we don't like police officers. When I say we, I don't actually care. I look at people individually. But when we look at police officers, if I can't communicate with you, and even simple communication such as slang, like if you're going to speak to me in a certain way. Excuse me, sir. Have you? We can't really. We can't. We're not that I can't speak to you. Yes, I can speak to you. But if you come to me and I can see that there's a certain background or something that we can share. There's something we share. Oh, okay, we can speak the same. Then I'm more likely to not speak to you because not the same thing. But I'm saying I'm more likely to open up and say something.
Exactly.
You can speak to people properly. You can understand what they're saying.
What
They're more
to
likely
say.
to speak to you in a better way. So I think
Yeah.
it's much more powerful that you can, as they call it, code switching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can code switch, you can learn to speak to different groups of people. Yes, you're all speaking English, but how you're speaking to them,
Exactly.
they're more like younger people are more likely to listen to you because it's like, oh, well, you know the
Yeah.
words.
Exactly.
Promise, I don't even know that. All right, cool.
But I
And
think
it happens
it's-
like that.
To me, it's not about the speaking. Yeah, some people really care about that. But my one is having that heart. Like you're saying, you want to like rehabilitation,
Yeah.
getting those people there. Like some people just want to go and put those people in prison. Yes, they did this or they did that. But how can we help them beyond prison? Because if prison was the end and it was going to help them, then it would have done its job, innit, once they get in. But it's how do you help that person that's deprived? How do they see that there are opportunities there, that you do have, like you're worthwhile, like all of these stuff. Yes, you might have grown up in a deprived area, but don't let that area define you. And I think that is so important. So yes, they could have been posh people in the cadets, but I feel like someone like you, Marie, could actually change people's lives, like when they come in contact with you. And I think sometimes so many systems, you know, being a teacher and all of that, but you want to have an encounter with someone that can impact their life so they can change for the better.
Of course,
and that's what I like about you, because I believe that that's what you're pursuing. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And it wasn't easy. I have to say, no, it wasn't easy because there was times where I'm like, do I want to go in this week or? But I still I did it for 4 years, literally. So I did it until I was like 18, and then obviously I started my first year of uni, so I couldn't continue because I had other commitments. But I did enjoy it. It was definitely one of my best years, 100%. And it actually, I do feel like it calms me down.
Yeah.
I became definitely more disciplined, and I was actually much more open-minded, very open-minded. Like there will be times where, for example, if I have a friend, like a male friend, that's been in trouble with the police or something, and he's making a comment to me like, oh yeah, and then I'll actually be the one to be like, but did you do this or how did you do it? Like I'm not judging you, but you need to know that they're actually just there to do their job, literally. And I get like what you were saying, like, if you don't have people that can relate to them, it's going to be much more difficult.
Yeah.
So it all boils down to having like more people, like more diverse workplaces.
Of course.
Yeah, having people that younger people or people in like can relate to in general.
Yeah.
Like is very important, because when you want to talk to someone, you need to be able to be on the same wavelength, whether you're different or not. It has to be equal. Like I don't like being patronized, and I don't like feeling like you're micromanaging me when you're not at work, especially. Like, it will really, really bother me, and I will automatically have my guard up. So it's literally, and I feel like that's what a lot of males do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I really appreciate it. I was going to say, are there any common trends you find? Have you worked with other estates? Like, have you worked across other estates or anything like that?
So I was a part of a project in Haringey.
Okay.
Very, very, very great project, actually. It was called Project Future.
Okay, what's that
So
about?
I just did my placement there, actually. So they were it was a new project that was piloted in the area, one of the first ones, because now they've got funding. So, and literally they focused on the mental well-being of the young people.
Okay.
Or should I say service users, because it ranged all the way up to 28, so.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
that's
so
good.
service users. And literally they will promote their well-being, help them get jobs, especially those that just come out of jail. Like there was like prison packs being, you know, offered to them where they can get all types of information to do with getting a bank account. All, like everything.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it was. I feel like it was a great project because I had someone that was actually in there, and I know someone that was in there, and he has not reoffended at all.
Is it an ongoing project still?
Now it's ongoing. It's been renamed.
Okay,
it's been renamed now, but when it first started, it was Project Future, and that's what I was a part of. So I will definitely comment on Project Future. And I'm telling you, they were great. Like the support they gave them, the mental support, and they were actually paying service users. So it wasn't as if they're just coming to be service users. They became their colleagues.
Oh, right. That's a good way to,
They were like community consultants. That's the names they were given. Yeah. So it's like they were even like inviting in other younger people to come into the project. There was a whole studio set up there for them if they wanted to make music. Like it was very, very positive.
So it's kind of them using people that had offended and then bringing younger children through that. That's an amazing way. That's actually a good way because as I was saying earlier, we need people that look like yourselves sometimes to kind of have an impact on someone else. I feel a lot of the time there's a lot of outside bodies that want to come in and help. But you don't either you know nothing about the area, you don't look like us, and I always say look like because it does take it's a big thing. If it is a big thing, you need to be able to trust someone that looks like him. You have to relate, and if we can't relate. That's where sometimes the closed-mindedness comes from as well. Because I can't relate to someone who's like, you don't look like me. Guards up straight away, as you mentioned. But I think it's much more powerful to say, no, I was in that spot. I understand where you're coming from. Let me help you and try and come out in this way, a better person. And I think it's a powerful way for that individual as well, because then they're helping someone else out. And then they're not reoffending. I think that's a great cycle.
That was literally what the project was about. It's still such a great project. And literally we had like people like Sadiq Khan come in and talk to us. And like literally it was really good. We had David Lammy and it was, I would recommend they have like projects like that everywhere. And I think they're coming across slowly but surely anyways. But
That's what I was going to say next. Did you face, when you was a youth here, did you find trouble to like find clubs? Because I know you went to the cadets, but did you want to find any other clubs to get involved in?
So no, growing up, literally, it was always a moment thing though. That was another thing. So obviously I went Broadwater Farm primary school. And we had like the clubs in the school, but it was after school as well. So for example, at one point, me and like some of my friends, we was part of having a young musicians. So we used to do drumming. So we used to like get performances outside of the school, like, and we would just be basically representing Haringey.
That's cold.
So that was one of the things. But that was also, when I do remember, it was so late. It's just like, what type of after school club was this? Like literally.
I should be in bed right now.
I should be eating my dinner and getting ready for bed. But literally, so it would be from like 5:30 to 6:30. It was just so late. And now I think about it, it's just because even after that 6:30, no one's ready to go home because we've all just listened to music. Like we're all listening to Do you get what I mean? There was also a few other clubs in the community centre. So obviously there was the football, which I used to do as well.
Okay.
You did football as well as the girls.
But I used to do the football. So every Sunday I was like the female district team. I was part of them for a bit. There was stuff like youth clubs like Off the Street Less Heat. That was very police based. It was a project run by police officers, and literally everyone used to be there. So that was obviously back in the days. We had like Girls Club, which was something I thoroughly enjoyed.
I thought both of you went to the Girls Club, innit?
We literally sit there, make up dances. It was just literally, it was just so funny. And then they had stuff like. So we had Tottenham Carnival, but we also had was called
Broadwater Farm Carnival. I told you guys. I was telling them, they were like, what carnival? Like, they used to be a Broadwater Farm.
I wasn't aware of this. I know you keep saying there was Broadwater Farm Carnival, but I'm just like,
it was for years.
Was it literally just Broadwater Farm Carnival?
No, literally, it was at the centre and it's called Broadwater Farm Carnival, and we had all different types of things going on in there. Because I remember I used to perform, like do dances.
Made me feel like I didn't live here. Like.
No, it used to be like, it was good.
Yeah, it was
really
very good. Like, and I felt like that was something that was great growing up because it makes you feel like you're part of something.
Of course.
And it was better than just being at home because at home there was not much to do at home anyway.
Thank you.
It definitely was great. But obviously all them things always got cut short.
That's what I was saying.
That's the common thing right now. I feel the common thing right now, even as everything you've mentioned, it's like, this was a good project. But then at the end of it, it kind of just turns to, it's been cut. Because at the end of the story, it's like, oh, we all have these great stories. There's Carnival, there's Broadwater Farm Carnival, Tottenham Carnival, streets, off streets, let's heat. However many clubs you just mentioned.
Girls Club.
But it's just this constant, they all have the same end, which is the funding gets cut or something else gets cut. And then it leaves a lot of youth in this space of, well, what do I do with myself now?
Yeah, literally.
And they talk about like less youth engagement, and people are not engaging. But I feel like when you've been a part of these good projects, and like as a young person, you want them to like continue, you've been going, and then they cut it off. Then it's like you don't have that trust, and they'll be like, oh, we're doing this new project, youth engagement. Then we're just like, oh, but we just know after a while it's going to be cut off. So now when I join projects, honestly, I ask them, is this going to continue? Because if it's not, sorry, I'm not going to be a part of it. Because don't waste my time.
It's very disheartening. It's very disheartening.
It's true. Like, you're
It's very
wasting our
disheartening.
time. And then you have children here. It meant a lot to us, innit? Girls Club and stuff like that. It does mean a lot to you when you're growing up. So I think consistency in everything that you're doing in estates and stuff should be there, because someone might have nothing at home, and that's the only thing they come to, and that's where they get that joy.
Because I do remember stuff like the little clubs they were doing in the centre. There will be food there. There was like a kitchen. There was that where they will probably sell like chicken for like 50p. Just things like that.
Even that's cheap to get chicken now. You ain't getting chicken on 50p now. A whole fire as well. I ain't getting that now.
Because I do know, like, obviously back in the days, we all used to go up to the neighbours' chicken shop. Literally, 3 wings and chips, £1 all the time. And we're good to some burger sauce, and we're all right. So literally, but obviously now, I went there the other day and I was just like, yeah, can I have some 3 wings and chips for my little one? And I think he said like 170 to me. And I was just looking at him like,
inflation has really hit us. Inflation
I used to pay £1. You know, went from £1 to 120 to 130 to 1. I just don't understand.
And it's a big thing, you know, because you get that £1 and, you know, you're on the streets from what time we would leave home at like 12, 11, and we won't come back until like 7, 9. I got, you know, I'm not going to say it. You know, but my mum was very angry with me one day. I came back at like 12. But this was your community. And the thing is that one thing is you grow up with people, you never lose the links, like with the people that you're in the area with, and people grow and people change as well. Like what Marie said, like you said before, obviously we knew about the angle, you know, the angle thing. You went to the cadets and now you've changed. And I think when you're looking out and into the farm, yes, you might see some people and be able to say, oh, this one's like this or this one's like this. But everyone's changing, and as people grow, they change. And so it's good to hear these stories to say, okay, people can be this way, but they can change. Or there's actually two sides to, you know, people's stories, and don't judge, you know, as you said.
100%.
Okay.
How long have you been working in your role now?
Definitely. Oh, this role's a new role I'm in, but I've always been criminal justice based. Yeah. Even if I was working in schools, it was like intervention work I was doing. And
how long was that for?
Go ahead.
How long have you been working in that sector?
So first year uni.
Oh, right off the bat.
Yeah. Because we have to do placement, so.
Oh, okay. So part of you having to go
to 6 years.
Were there any common things you saw from different areas?
Of course. So, for example, I did like work experience with victim support. So that was a whole different ball game. That was more working with obviously victims and understanding things from, you know, a victim perspective.
Oh, so rather than the offenders, you're working with the victims.
Do you get what I mean?
Okay.
So literally, sometimes I sit down and be like, like I do have mental debates in my head, like, well, you've done this. Like when someone gets a very lengthy sentence, and maybe they didn't, you know. Maybe the sentence they've got might be too much, but I need to remember that, okay, but this has happened, and there's also a victim in this situation. And you have to, like, you need to be sympathetic, and you need to understand how things work. Like, you can't do one thing, and just because you automatically feel sorry for that person, then
you forget about the other.
Do you get what I mean? When someone else has suffered. So I've always kept that in mind, like, literally, when working with offenders and etc.
Do you find it difficult sometimes working with offenders and victims? Who do you find hardest to work with, actually?
I think it was victims, because with victims you have to be more emotionally engaged, 100%. And there's certain things you will come across and you're just like, oh my God, like you probably won't even sleep that night. Yeah, so that was definitely tough emotionally. Whereas I have a crazy drive to work with offenders or ex-offenders because I want them to get better.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
I want people to come out of prison and not go back in.
Yeah.
Literally. So if I can be a part of that, I will definitely do everything I can to be a part of it.
Okay.
What situations do you think causes people to reoffend?
Your circumstances.
So like what, like housing or just what they come back to when there's nothing there? It's
when
just
there's
easier.
nothing there and they're trying to work themselves to go back up. And also stuff like criminal records.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
criminal record
like
things.
literally, I just feel like I get the whole logic. It's very important to have it 100%. However, I feel like if someone's been out of prison for a long time, maybe like 3 years plus or 6 years plus or something, I do feel like it should also become spent when they're adult. Not just your juvenile record, but your adult record can become spent at one point to give you the opportunity to actually get back into like showing, just to show us like, yeah, I have changed. Like, yes, I do understand that some people come out and they reoffend, but those are those people. And then there's actually those people that come out and they want to change their life so bad and they just can't. And they literally end up doing other things, like illegal things, just like, you know, money-driven crimes and stuff like that.
It's sad because I feel a lot of the times there are people that obviously they reoffend and they try to get into work. But then when you're filling out application forms, like, oh, well, have you offended before? And it's like, okay, yeah, you have to click yes because they're going to do a background check on you regardless. However, a lot of these forms are meant to be unbiased. But as soon as you say, oh, I've been in prison, it's like, oh, what That's for? The bias has already kicked in. And it's going to take away chances, and then that kind of leaves people in this state of, I'm going to be stuck here for a long time, but what worked for me best? What I was doing before. And even then, I was still getting to feed myself, I was still having a roof over my head. But if I get put back in prison, I'm still going to get fed, I'm just going to do this little quick time, I'll go out. And that's how cycles keep on going.
But I think the rise in like drill music and stuff has given people like another way out. Like
it has.
And you know, to do something else. I think personally, I think we should invest in what people are doing and what they enjoy to do to help them, you know, especially if the system is hard. We can complain about the system, but we can also try and help our community as well. So what are you doing, or what do you intend to do maybe in the future in order to help people in communities like Broadwater Farm, so that people, like you're saying, these offenders can get the way out?
Well, first of all, I would love to work in my borough, but it's just not ethical, if that makes sense. Like having access to people's personal records and that. But if I could work in the area I grew up in, I 100% would. But I obviously cannot.
Yeah.
But like when I do go to other boroughs, I do focus on what can help them like divert from the street life.
Okay.
That makes sense. I want to create opportunities. Like, so the area that I'm based in at the moment, we've just basically just opened up another project in that area. And it's literally it's a hub basically where they can come and apply for jobs. There's a section where they can apply for jobs. They can do things like even just come in like STI checkups there as well. Things like we're building a studio there as well, because obviously, like you just touched on, music's obviously a very big thing.
Massive thing right now.
I actually did my master's dissertation on drill music. So like I looked at, you know, if there was a strong correlation between drill music and crime.
What did you find?
I was going to say, what did you find? What did you find?
Okay, well, this is my opinion. I feel like music has always been an issue. Like, let's be for real. It's not just because I feel like we're just, obviously that whole drill music is it's a social constructed thing, 100%. And the reason why I say that, because for example, stuff like heavy metal and them kind of things, that back in the days, they were associated with drugs. Do you get what I mean? So just because I feel like it's just something that the media is just going to focus on and just be able to like say, okay, nah, this is why this is happening, because drill music is happening. No, music has always been around. Crime has always been associated with music. It's not just drill music.
I find it funny because I was in the gym the other day and when they play certain drill music, if they play drill music or rap, anything, sing, maybe even a bit sexual, drugs, whatever. How are they? Is there any other music you can put on? Like, it's a bit much.
Where gym do you go to? Because that's not my gym.
That I can't do. But what I found interesting was when they were playing like some that electrical EDM, and they're about to start singing and it's funny beats. Well, I can't remember the genre of music, but when one of the lines was, "Oh, I took a pill last night, something."
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I was like,
It's the same.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
but now
exactly.
if I said, I done this with a pill, or I done this with...
It'll be focused
It's going to
on-
be something like, how can we listen to this? And I just think to myself, it's absolutely wild
Yeah.
how... Whether it's when it's rapped about or when it's when it's said in a certain way, it's suddenly a big thing. But when someone's singing it and there's this little happy, weird beat behind it, it's suddenly okay. But it's like you're saying the same thing. So
Yeah, literally.
what
Yeah.
really is the issue here? Because it's clearly not the music. There must be some sort of stereotype or social construct, as you
It's
said,
definitely social construct.
that has behind it.
I mean, they're
100%.
just telling their stories though. Like you can't, you know.
And
Like
that's what
everyone
they
is.
know.
Like, if that's you get me. That is what you
How
know.
that person took their pill on that night, that's your story.
Yeah.
I went out and did, that's my story. That's all it is. It's just a story at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
literally.
And they should be able to sing about that. So I
Naturally.
don't see. But
Yeah.
that's a good that sounds really interesting. I wish my dissertation was on something interesting like
Yeah.
that. But yeah. And do you think that's a way that offenders or people use it to change their lives, like drill music, and what other things as well have you seen? So it's not just drill. What else?
Yeah, I do feel like music's definitely, I won't say drill music because there's different
types,
type of
yeah.
music, you know what I mean? But music's definitely been one successful pathway for them, 100%. I've seen trading is becoming a new thing, like people are trying to do
traders
yeah,
are-
exactly.
Yeah.
People are trying to focus on trading. Yeah. So I mean, I feel like people are looking for ways, like especially offenders or ex-offenders, are looking for ways to be able to be successful without being scrutinised with the whole criminal record thing.
There is a
And
big,
that's
yeah.
where it is. If I can't get a job, you
What
know,
do you
in an
want to do?
office, you know, doing finance or even people that, you know, like there's a lot of caring young males out there. And
A lot.
they fit so well in schools, but just because they have like criminal records, where the schools are the best places for them to be placed because
Always.
young people can relate to them, and then they can even be telling their stories to these young people, and like you wouldn't want to follow that, you know, that pathway that person did.
Yeah.
But just because of one criminal record, they're not able to do it.
Yeah.
So it's such a crazy barrier that just needs to be put down somehow.
It's amazing because I see a lot of people, when I say people, young people now, not even just now, I've always seen young people go to certain people and say, get off the street. Like, don't do this, don't do that. And it's them showing their caring side, like, you don't need to be here doing what we're doing. I know people feel like they're adults before they're adults all the time, naturally. And people feel like they're grown before their time. However, there is definitely that caring element that I've always seen, where they'll see, why are you out? There's nothing wrong with you. You don't seem like there's anything. Why do you want to chill with us? This is not something I want you to be brought into.
Yeah.
What is hard about that is now if you ask that same person to tell a child that in a primary school, but the way you're dressed, the way you're this, and there's too many stereotypes and things that block us to tell someone else, no, you don't have to be involved in this. And I think going to a school is a perfect place for a lot of these young people to start in because they're very comfortable around children to say, all right, let's chill out on this X,
Yeah,
Y, Z.
because
They're
even
very
in-
well speaking with children, I can't lie.
Yeah, because even in schools, I can't say I had, like, I probably had like 2 teachers that I was really cool with. And
Yeah.
they were like the teaching assistants, if that makes sense. So they were really like cool teachers. But I will never forget there was a teacher that actually told me that I would never be like amount to anything, literally.
I've definitely had that myself as well.
Yeah, and that was in primary school, and that's actually quite terrible because if my child, and I remember going home, my mum just said, like, she just, you know, like dismissed it kind of thing, like she didn't really take it seriously. Whereas now, if my child came home and told me, my teacher said I'm gonna be down at that school, and ask them, you need to explain to me what you mean by this, like literally, because that doesn't, how dare you say that to someone's child? And things like that do stick, and I just thank God
100.
that I was actually very strong-minded because that didn't faze me because I did look at her that day like, oh, whatever kind of thing. Whereas there's some people, they keep it in the back of their mind, but everyone's very strong-minded. So,
and I think that's what got me into teaching. Disclosure, I'm a primary school teacher. But I think, I just wanted to make that change as well. But what you're saying is so true about primary school. Like my placement when I was a student teacher was in, I'm not going to say the name, but a primary school in Tottenham, and they were like writing in their English session about drill music, and they were using like the teacher would say, use a character from, you just make up a name of a character, and we're doing this, and they'll be like, so today I think one boy used one drill artist from Farm, and he went to OFB, and I was reading this crazy story, and I'm like, well, okay, their story's very interesting. All the gang, all the rappers are in there, all these drill music, but the impact, if those people could just come into the school, it would have such a big impact on those children. And if they just told them to go this way or that way, as you're saying, but their criminal record holds them back, but the impact they could have would be so crucial, because there are children that no matter what they say, and sorry, parents and stuff, but these are the people they're looking up to. So let them speak something positive into their lives. And that's what
I think we can. That's the thing. I feel we can actually trust people to speak to them. We're not having to say, more time. A lot of these rappers are saying, do not follow what my lifestyle is. I'm literally rapping about my story. But don't follow this. You have an opportunity to do X, Y, Z. And that's often the conversation. I don't hear the conversation of, do what I'm doing.
They do that, but like it all goes back down to like being strong-minded and just seeing it as some source of like entertainment instead of like something motivation. Do you get what I mean? Because there are some young people, like there was just one case, I do this a lot, sorry, but there was just one case that I actually read where the guy, he was listening to music, this happened in South London or something, he listened to a song and he was so pumped up and he went and killed his girlfriend. Just from listening to the music.
Song? Yeah. You're joking.
Music does.
It was one of the cases I came across in my dissertation, like doing my research. So there's just some people like they think, I want to do this because you know what he said this, and it kind of sounds cool, kind of thing. Like. So this is why the social media will like focus on these things, because they feel like I could use this against them, because why is someone listening to this song and then feeling like they can go commit murder after? Like it is quite crazy, like, but it's the same with music. People are listening play like games. They play
GTA.
GTA,
they're still playing,
and they're motivated to go do, because they think what's happening in the TV screen is really happening outside. So it can go both ways.
It's just media at the end of the day. Whatever you see on TV, or whatever you see on YouTube, or whatever media platform, anyone can act out, because anyone can be influenced from.
That's it.
You just as a person have to be able to filter and know what is right and be told what is right and be told what is wrong.
I mean, I echo what you're saying. I think it's just anyone can tell you their story. You pick and choose what you want to learn from that story, and then you make you go on with your own. But I think the closing question would be, what impact do you want to make? Obviously, you're not in the farm, but here and beyond. And what do you want your son to like? Also, like, what farm do you want to bring up your son in?
First of all, we could talk about how the area looks.
I mean, they're changing that though. They are changing it, and they're doing up our houses.
They are changing it, like. They are definitely changing. Even the school. Oh my God.
Yes. One of the
went to the same school.
There was no swimming pool there before. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole swimming pool there now. So just stuff like the school. That's amazing. The way they've transformed it. Even though they did rename it, but it's not called Broadwater Farm no more. But literally, the school looks like amazing. Area-wise, I would like to definitely bring in more projects to do with it, because it's an area full of so many kids.
Yeah.
They need something.
Kids. Very creative.
And they need something. It's not just, like I said, you can't just always be at home and do, most of the time there's nothing to do at home anyways.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they're online, researching crazy stuff that they shouldn't be researching. But definitely bringing more projects, and projects that are here to stay.
Yeah.
Not just for a moment,
Agree.
like, 6 weeks and then they're gone again. No.
Yeah.
Bring back stuff like, we had stuff like Homework Club.
Very important.
We had a homework club, and that even stuff like that, because a lot of people are working now in the area, within this area, because a lot of people have bought their houses in this area, in the community. So like just working parents that need just the extra support after school. So homework club was definitely there. I think that should be brought up, because I don't recall my little sisters doing homework club, but we was there.
Yeah.
So stuff like homework club. Summer school, I remember summer school.
Summer school was a big thing. I actually worked in the summer school in the farm years ago. I used to actually help out there.
Exactly, and it was a success, right?
Yeah.
Amazing success. Both children with disabilities, without disabilities.
Exactly,
and kids used to come in, and we used to take them out to trips, cinema.
Yeah, I remember that,
So even in that, I would say funded summer school if possible.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, like, I do remember when we used to go summer school, we used to have to pay probably about £5 each for like a week or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a week or every other day, but it was something crazy. I say crazy because my parents weren't working, my mum wasn't working, and there was more than one of us.
Yeah.
So literally, she had to give us all money, and that was sometimes
a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
And you have to pay for the trips as well when you're going, and then the food on the trips. So it's like,
so stuff like funded summer schools would be so great, especially for parents that are on benefits and that can show their own benefits. I feel like that would be a great support.
Do you have time for more? Right.
Yes.
Sorry, I was just double checking time. I wanted to say, because we did speak about police interactions earlier, what do you feel you need to teach your son about interactions with the police?
So obviously, he knows very well that officers are there to make sure, you know, it's a safe environment for everyone.
Yeah.
I've also taught him that you should always be respectful and listen to instructions first time.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one major important rule, because obviously when I was younger and I used to see, you know, friends or whatever getting stopped by officers, and it was always officers say, okay, can you stand still? Why don't you stand still for? Like,
it was always a reaction rather than a response.
And it was like, when I think about it, it's like, why did that happen? Like, why didn't you just listen? Like, it was just obviously it's just a whole rebellious, you know, mentality as well. So I've obviously taught him that you should always, you know, be respectful. You don't need the instructions given to you more than once. You know, you're well aware to understand. Like, he knows that. And just, you know, don't do things that will require them to even have to talk to you.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that.
Yeah, so things that even, like, one of our main things is his seatbelt in the car. And I'm always like, do you want mommy to get stopped? Like, literally. And he understands, like, no, I don't want mommy to get stopped. Okay, so you know, do this.
He knows what to do.
Yeah, so it's just little things like that. And obviously, I would never give him a negative perspective. You know, if he goes up and has his own negative perspective, that will be from his own free will. I will never, like, you know, give him any sort of opinion. However, I will be there to guide him as he grows up, because he is quite young. But yeah, as he gets older, I'll definitely be there to guide him, hopefully in the right way. Anyways.
I respect that.
Also, just to add this, and would you teach him how to fight as well when you are right? Because sometimes you get stopped and you haven't done anything, and instances like that will happen. Since you know so much about the social justice system, how to fight in a positive way, because I think someone could stop you. Maybe the boys are right. Like, why did you stop me? I didn't do anything. But the way you go about things is so important, and that's what I'm learning. And I want to teach the children in my classroom that you can fight for justice, but you need to know how to fight the right way, have the right conversations, the way you articulate yourself, and go through a way that will let them know, listen, you know, I'm able to get my payback, but in the proper way. Yeah. So how would you teach your son that?
One major thing that I have taught my son is being able to speak up, especially to me. Or, for example, I'll give you an example. If he's been, like, someone's done something to him at school, I'm not going to be that parent and be like, if this person hits you, hit them back. No. You're going to tell an appropriate adult that's, you know, by you. Or if you want, you can wait until you get home and you speak to me. And the reason why I say that, because I grew up with the mentality, if someone hits me, I hit them back. And then them things, next minute you'd be knowing that I'll be doing something so, you know, crazy that do you get what I mean? And
you might lose your temper, and it's just
so
like,
crazy.
You're hitting them and you just keep on hitting them. It's like, well, now you're in trouble.
And I can't go back from it. So I'm not there to teach him someone does this. So I've always taught him that you need to be able to express yourself, express your feelings. And I'm so big on that. So especially when he's upset and he's, I'm like, you need to tell me what's wrong. Speak to me. Let me know what's wrong. And I tell him to do that at school. And if it's the case where he's, you know, someone's bothered him as an officer, I'm expecting him to be able to, be able to literally compose himself. And then the next thing to do will be to report it. So I'm always you need to compose yourself first, and then you will like take care of the issue after. Don't just act because on impulsiveness. No, because that's not always the right thing to do. 100%. So think before you act and think before you speak, and that's what I've taught him.
I think it's a phenomenal, especially as a mother, I think that's a phenomenal thing to teach your son, to also express his emotions. I think it's very powerful, because I feel a lot of people don't express their emotions,
especially
and it comes out as impulse. So that if the emotion they want to show is the emotion they're feeling now as anger, but they're not saying why they're angry. They're just, I'm angry, punch. Rather than I'm angry, leave me alone, or let me calm myself down and then you can speak to me.
Literally.
But I think it's amazing that you teach in that, and I'm sure you'll be a great young man.
And train them when they're young, and when they grow up, they'll keep to it. But that's amazing. Thank you so much, Marie.
Thank you very much, Marie.
Thank you for coming. Yes, and we hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast, and there will be many more. So thank you guys. Today we've had our beautiful guest, Marie, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye.
Well done, Marie.
I'm not talking.
I don't know how my phone rang that list all my days. I was like, this silly guy. Why are you calling me now? That was amazing, Marie.
Thank you. That was actually amazing.
I knew having her on would be great.
Thank you very much.
Amazing.